It's Jessalyn, and welcome back. Today, I want to do a bit of a different type of video. So normally I just like to tap on things and not talk a whole lot. But today it's raining and it's a bit gloomy. And you can hear it. It's very nice and calming in the background. Rain is wonderful for thinking and relaxing, but sometimes it can be hard to stay happy while it's raining. And so today I thought it might be a good idea to have a little rainy day video that when you need to find the light on a day where it's not shining, where there's no sun, you can kind of go into an interior world and you'll find the light in there. So today I thought it might be fun to do a kind of journaling exercise to remind us that even when the outside isn't looking so great, you know that inside there can be a world that you fashion, right, that you make for yourself, that is spectacular. And we can always retreat to that spectacular, calming, safe place anytime the world out there is looking like it's just too much. And the more you think and the more you imagine that beautiful world within you, the more likely you are to bring that world outside of you, and that world can become a light for others. And it's a way to move past the paralysis of dissatisfaction, which I think can sometimes capture us all, where we feel so sad that we don't really know how to move forward. And I definitely have that a lot. So it's been really important for me to practice building an interior world that can keep, the light burning or the warmth when everything outside feels really cold and dark. So what I have planned is, while we listen to the rain, is that we work on building that imaginary world, especially now, because as a country we're in a position of transition. As a world we're in a position of transition, and as a person I'm in a position of transition. And transition can often feel like a little death, right? Because a whole way of life for you, or for me at least, is dying. And the home that I have built will transition into someone else's hands when I sell my house, and all the things that I did here will just belong to someone else now. So it does feel like a little death, right? Now, of course, there's life after, and in a lot of ways that life might be better for me, but at the time it does feel sad, and I do mourn a little bit. So I think now is the perfect time, as I'm preparing to really move states from South Carolina to New England. It's a really good time for me to keep some sort of consistency, some sort of happiness within, as everything outside is in tumult. And so I figured we could do it together, because I know I'm not the only one who's going through some transitions in life, or is making new choices, or is maybe even seeking out transition. Right? I know I'm never the only one going through something. There's always someone else out there who's having the same experience. And so it might be nice to write together. And everybody's writing is going to be different. But that's what's so wonderful about it. And you can just listen to what I write, for sure. Or you can get out a piece of paper and kind of do your own journaling. And think about your own happiness. Where do you go when you need to relax? Where do you go when you need to turn off the sounds? And there are so many sounds that are loud and irritating. They're not like our nice ASMR sounds. Where do you go when you need to turn off the negativity, the struggle, and the constant oscillations between one thing to another, the things that you need to do? I mean, where is the place where you seek comfort? And it doesn't even have to be real. It can be all in your mind. I guess some people call this creative manifestation. And I guess that's kind of what it is. But manifesting is to make something real. And I don't know that I'm always trying to make it real. I think, honestly, if I were to find myself in the thing that I imagine, I wouldn't know what to do. It's kind of like meeting a celebrity. You build this person up in your mind, but then you meet them and they're not what you thought. I think sometimes when I face beautiful things, I get sort of paralyzed by the fact that they're temporary and I'm just in them. I have trouble being in the moment. And so sometimes carrying it inside of yourself is almost better, because you can access it whenever you want and it's never going to disappear. And that's what I love about my interior world, is it's entirely my own and it doesn't go anywhere. No one can take it away. Only I can take it away. And sometimes I can make it disappear for a long, long time, right? My brain can just shut off that beautiful thing. And all it sees is the darkness that might exist in the world at that time, and I have trouble kind of locating that calmness. But that doesn't mean we can't try and make it real. So I'm going to open a document, and I'm going to write in my computer. You don't have to, of course. You can handwrite, and I often find that handwriting is almost better, because your connection between your hand and the very physical act of writing and your handwriting is really an expression of who you are and your thoughts and your moods and all of those things. So a lot of times handwriting can be better. But I'm going to type for the purpose of sounds, because I love typing sounds, and I just think that would be kind of more appropriate for the video. But you go ahead and handwrite. I would handwrite if I were you. Get some nice paper or a nice little pencil or pen, whatever you like, and then we'll just go ahead and start to imagine what is beautiful to us. So I'm going to change my font into something pretty. I could put in Garamond. This is my favorite. I usually make it pretty big, 14. And the first thing I'm going to say is just, when I imagine something, imagine a place. What is that place? And for me, it has evergreen trees. And they're always a bit wet, like after a rain. I love how the pine needles on evergreen trees collect droplets, and these droplets hang, and when you look inside them, you can see the whole world reflected inside them, refracted, like looking in a snow globe. And when there are thousands of them, millions, on 100 different tree boughs, or boughs, I don't really know how to say it, B-O-U-G-H, 100 different tree boughs, or bows, they catch the light in a way. It's like the whole world has the face of a diamond, where the whole world is covered in glitter. I don't know if you can hear that, but my neighbors are getting back and they're very loud. They talk, 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 talk. Oh, it annoys me. But this is when we need to go to our interior world, right? Interior world. But they talk, 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 talk. Okay. So I just finished writing that the whole world has a face of a diamond, where the whole world is covered in glitter. And sometimes, because in the South this happens, the pine trees are cast and draped with wisteria, which climbs hundreds of feet without struggle and drips their purple flowers from the pine, from the branches of the chosen tree. Alright, I like that. And sometimes, because in the South this happens, the pine trees are crossed and draped with wisteria, which climbs hundreds of feet without struggle and drips their purple flowers from the branches of the chosen tree. It is as if the pine, which is never allowed to flower, is able to, suddenly, and bursts forth with the colour and scent of a rose bush, though in its grandness it is multiplied, its beauty is. Now that is what I see. And what I'm pulling this from, you know, sometimes it's nice to think about, well, where did this image come from, is when I lived in Georgia. And in the spring, I always found that the southern spring is a bit like the northern autumn, because in the springtime, all of the trees, and by spring I mean like February, right? Because it's February to March is when everything kind of starts to come back, in Georgia at least. And I would, you know, in the springtime, you would get all of the thousands of different shades of green. And so in the north, you get all the different shades of orange and red and yellow. But in the south, you get all of the different shades of green. And there, until you see it, you don't understand just how many colors of green there really is. And you'll be driving down the street and you look out at the, if you're a bit high, and you look out at the fields or the forests, and you have all of these trees coming with their new sprouts. And it really is like this incredible tapestry of green. And it's incredible. And so every morning, because I had a young baby at the time, and she didn't sleep much, and I am not a type of person who can like stay inside, I swear. Okay, I gotta pause and start again. We're gonna wait for this guy to get off the phone right under my window. Okay. I'm back. I had to go out and ask her to leave. Luckily, we're pretty good friends, so I was just like, Matt, you're in my video. And you don't want to be. So, okay, we did that. So, back to it. I'm really sensitive to sound right now. It's like driving me crazy. Okay, back to it. So I think I was talking about, oh yeah, going out with my daughter, and how this is, to this day, one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. So I'd go out in the morning walking with her, and because she didn't sleep, and I would walk, and I would just see all of this wisteria. And if you don't know what wisteria is, look it up. It's literally gorgeous. It's these vines, they're massive, and they have these big purple flowers that like this, like little teardrops, and they're shaped like little almost like grapes, like little grapevines. And they grow high, and they actually kill trees. They're not really that good, and they're very invasive, but sometimes what is dangerous is very beautiful. We all know that. So, that being said, let's see what I've got in here. So I don't know if you've gotten anything yet, but this is just kind of came to me as something that's really beautiful. So here it is. I've got it right there, all written. And you can read it back, or you can just keep going. I'm just going to keep going, because I've gotten there, but I want to kind of take it out of the realm of the real and into the realm of the imagination, because right now this is very much a part of my life. Like it's a scene from my life, and I want to get it somewhere new. So I'm going to read the last line, just to center myself. When you're writing, it's always a good idea, when you stop, to just read the last few lines and see where you go naturally from that progression into the next place. There's a fly in my wine. Come on, little fly. Well, he's super dead, but okay. So, and sometimes, because in the south this happens, the pine trees are crossed and draped with wisteria, which climbs hundreds of feet without struggle, and drips their purple flowers from the branches of the chosen tree. It is as if the pine, which is never allowed to flower, is able to, suddenly, and burst forth with the colour and scent of a rose bush, though in its grandness it is multiplied, its beauty is. It seems that which could not flower on its own, finds another who can flower for it. and that which cannot climb stand on its own at such heights finds another who can help it stand. Alright, there we go. Gosh, just everyone wants to make noise today. All the doggies, bark, bark, bark. Okay, so it seems that which could not flower on its own finds another who can flower for it, and that which cannot stand on its own at such heights finds another who can help it stand. Who can help it stand. Everyone, it seems, is finding someone to help them, and they are doing so without shame and for the benefit of us all. Without the pine, the wisteria could not flower, could not climb, and without the wisteria, the pine could not flower. I've gone down a bit of a different road than I planned. You are here, in this place, but not to stay. It is a quick view from a window, because you are alone in a car. A small car is driving through the countryside. It is spring, and everything is coming back, and it has just rained, briefly, but very hard. It rained with such ferocity that for 10 miles you drove blindly, incapable, the rain casting torrents against the windshield and creating a thick fog as you passed over rivers and drove on the winding roads that surround the lakes hidden in the deep forests of the thick forests of the south and the thick forests of the south. The rain, as it always does, ends, and you find yourself safe again, that you can see. And what you see is new. You have passed from one place to another in the short duration of the storm. Okay, I really know what you've got. The one thing I like about writing is whenever you write, it's always like completely different than you expected. Like you go in thinking one thing and you come out with a very different thing. And there's always a moment when I'm writing where I'm like, wow, this is really bad. Or a moment where I'm like, wow, this is really good. But I think writing like this, you don't want to qualify it as bad or good. You just kind of want to keep going and capture like the beauty of this place. You have passed from one place to another in the short duration of the storm. The sun is setting now. It began its descent in the rain, but is now just above the mountains. There were no mountains before the rain. There were no mountains before the thunder, the lightning, before that period of blindness. It seems that they emerged from the water as if they were waiting for sustenance so that they could rise. And here they are, now, a perfect crest, as if painted by a well-trained artist. The sun is white, turning gold, and in its place it does not give too much light, but rather shines as a moon does, without a glare. It is gentle enough that you can look upon it, that you can drive your eyes on it, as if you are not driving to a small house you have rented in the woods, but rather to that sun. And that sun will invite you in, and you will feel a warmth unlike any you have felt before. There. Where should I go next? I don't know. I wonder what you guys are writing about, if you are. Maybe you're just following along with me. If you're writing about the ocean or the desert, or maybe not even a place, but person. Sometimes we can find beauty in people. You write about a person that you don't have in your life anymore, or a person that you do have in your life that you really love, and when you think about them, you just feel so much better, and you just imagine yourself with that person. I tend not to do that, or I don't do it anymore. I tend to locate myself in places, and so I guess I'm driving to one of those places now in this story. So, and that sun will invite you in, and you will feel a warmth unlike any you have felt before. You drive slowly, because as you reach mountains, the roads are a bit careening. And if you look to your left, there is a sheer drop. And it is so terrifyingly close. So close that if you were to turn the wheel just the slightest, you might fall, and there would be no return from it. But the road is like the pine that carries the wisteria to heights it would terrify anyone else, and the wisteria never falls. Like the wisteria in the hands of the pine, you are in the hands of the road, and in the hands of the sun, and in the hands of the crests of the mountains which you traverse. Nothing will happen to you, because you are a part of this place. You are not alone. You are not separate from the trees, nor from the crushed pebbles that make soft crunching noises beneath the wheels. And you are not separate from the granite that keeps the mountain in place, or the birds that nestle in the purple flowers, or the rain that has drenched and nourished and given such a marvelous deepening hue to what was once dry and patiently waiting. You must remember that you are a part of all of it, and it is your separateness, your tendency to believe in a lie, to delude yourself, to believe you are alone, even when you are separate, when you are walking in the forest, and there is no one to speak to. Or you are alone in the strange contours of a life. That aloneness, why, it's an illusion. You are never alone. You do not need to fear nor protect yourself, because around you are so many forces that wish you to live, to flourish. The pine cannot speak, no, but it can nourish. Nourish you, as it does wisteria. If the wisteria gives the pines flowers and color, then you give the pines a voice. Do you think the pine wishes to lose the ability to speak? It speaks through you. We are all playing our marvelous roles. Wow, I didn't expect to get there. I guess I should take a moment and just kind of reread what I wrote. And maybe you should too. I don't know if you're writing, but if you are, maybe take a minute and just look at what you wrote. And then I think I'm about done, because this is already going a bit long. And I think the moment when you know you're done is when you meet that thing that you were trying to say the whole time. And I guess what I was trying to say is that you're not alone, right? Even when you feel like you're alone, even when there's no one calling you, or there's no one answering your text messages, or something terrible's happened, you're not alone, right? That you, as a human in the world, serve a purpose, right? And I'm not necessarily religious or anything, but I suppose it's like this, just the line that I wrote. You must remember that you are a part of all of it, and it is your tendency to believe in a lie, to delude yourself, to believe you are alone even when you aren't. When you are walking in the forest and there is no one to speak to, or you are alone in the strange contours of life, that aloneness, it's an illusion. You are never alone, and you do not need to fear nor protect yourself, because around you are so many forces that wish you to live, to flourish. The pine cannot speak, no, but it can nourish you, as it does the wisteria. If the wisteria gives the pines flowers and color, then you give the pines a voice. Do you think the pine wishes to lose the ability to speak? It speaks through you. We are playing our marvelous roles. The pine grows and breathes and saves us with its beauty, with its silence, and we stand beneath it and write odes to how wonderful it is. It shines through us, the world does. Do not allow yourself to disconnect. See the road following the rain, the sun dressed as a moon, pale enough to look at, the pines swaying in the last winds of the storm, carrying a burden of color and scent that it does not mind, listening as we say all the words in brilliant sentences amongst each other, or even alone. It listens to our dreams, and quietly, without our knowledge, makes them come true. There. Okay. Let me read the last line because I just wrote it and we'll see if it's any good. Okay. Do not allow yourself to disconnect. See the road following the rain, the sun dressed as a moon, pale enough to look at, the pines swaying in the last winds of the storm, carrying a burden of color and scent that it does not mind, listening as we say all the words in brilliant sentences, amongst each other or even alone. It listens to our dreams and quietly, without our knowledge, makes them come true. Yeah. So hopefully that was like a little bit of beauty and positivity. I don't know if you want to do this again. If you liked it, let me know, because I do love to write, and put anything that you wrote down in the comments. So if you wrote something and you're willing to share, definitely put it in the comments, and we can do this again if it's calming for you. I can write about just about anything, and I know you can write about just about anything. We can do like little prompts together. It really doesn't matter to me, but I hope you enjoyed this, and take some time to just think, just create something. It's really healthy, and I think it's the best way to feel a sense of peace and calm before you go to bed. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye everyone.